Hi, I'm Joe Freeman. This is Mike Richman. We're coming to you from the Motor Center, and we are with the OregonLive/Oregonian, bringing you a post-game report from the Blazers' second exhibition game. They beat the Toronto Raptors 106-101, but it's an exhibition game, so we're not going to talk about that. We will give you a few impressions, however, or a few thoughts on the first couple of games, because we can start to see a little bit of how the things are getting pieced together here. Damian Lillard, no surprise. Yusuf Nurkic, no surprise. CJ McCollum, no surprise. All three look like they're ready for the regular season to go. All three have looked pretty fluid, even if their shot wasn't falling or this or that wasn't going over the first couple of games. Especially Damian and Nurkic both look primed for their season to start. A little more interesting, though, is that battle for the small forward and power forward spots. First game, Terry Stotts elected to start Ed Davis and Evan Turner. Tonight he went with Mo Harkless and Al-Farouq Aminu. Shouldn't be that big of a surprise, but tonight's lineup fared a lot better, was a lot more in tune, and I think a lot of that comes with the continuity of starting a bulk of last year and some of the previous season as well, and that group should be ahead of the other starting lineup. I don't know that means that they're going to win the starting lineup spots, but right now that has looked like a much better unit.
Yeah, but best five is not always your first five. I don't think Terry Stotts knows who his starters are, and I think if he did, he might not tell us, but he would tell the team, and he's still figuring that out, and they'll piece it together over these next 4 preseason games and sort of finalize it. But like Joe said, the Chief and Mo group looked a lot sharper than the ET and Ed group, so they at least 2 games in have an edge. The rest of the things we're kind of see shaking out is the 2 rookies have gotten a big chance to play. Zach Collins, Caleb Swanigan. Maybe not surprising if you've been following it leading up to this and through Summer League, is Caleb Swanigan has looked like a contributor. He looks maybe not a starter, but a guy who can play day one, whereas Zach Collins just doesn't look as polished. He hasn't necessarily struggled, he just looks like a 19-year-old playing in the NBA.
Yeah, Swanigan is not only being a beast down low, snaring rebounds, he has a really good nose for the ball. That's obviously been talked a lot about him. Great long-range shot for a guy his size, and had a couple of really nice passes today that resulted in layups and dunks, wide open style for the Blazers, and that's an underrated aspect of his game. He really brings a lot. At one point tonight, I think I looked to Mike and said, is he going to start? Like, is he going to be a starter? And I think we both agree he's not ready for that, but he sure looks like one of the steals of the draft, and I think at some point he could get there. Another thing worth noting tonight, Anthony Morrow, who's in a competition with a couple young guys for that 15th roster spot, hit 4 3-pointers in the first half, adding a dimension that the Blazers not only need, but need a little more with the absence of Alan Crabb. Now, typically that 15th roster spot doesn't get a lot of playing time. Sure is nice to have one of the NBA's best current active leaders in three-point shooting percentage on your bench, though, and right now I think it's clear that he's leading that spot or leading for that job, and certainly distanced himself tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Morrow's a pro, if nothing else. Like, he's 32 years old. He's going to be the oldest Blazer on the team by about 4 years if he makes it, and he's ready to play and ready to shoot and make threes. You know, crack the glass when you need him, and then he can sit for 5 games. And I don't think the younger guys on the roster maybe don't give you that option. They'll give you that readiness and that professionalism. So, you know, the Blazers, maybe they're still thinking about who fits for 15, but, you know, 2 games in, it's Morrow by a lot.
Yeah, and everything we just said, let's take with a huge grain of salt, because it is the exhibition season. Terry Stotts has used a surplus of lineups, a ton of different rotations, a ton of different players playing together that will probably never play together during the regular season. Damian Lillard had the most minutes on the court tonight, and it was 26 minutes, 10 seconds. So factor all that into everything. But right now they're sort of plodding through, inching and getting ready for the regular season to start. They leave this weekend for a 3-game road trip, then they're back for 2 more exhibition games. So we'll talk to you again when they get back next week.